Hey guys, what's up? I finally had some time to breathe and to look at some Steam games after moving, and our house is still clearly a mess and there's still lots to do, but I did want to drop a video going over the last months of games in March and the first week of April as well. So if you're missing a Steam game, it's probably because I'm cutting it off at the first week of April because I had to cut it off somewhere. We're going to talk about the games and categories again, so I will drop the timestamps below. If I forget, remind me, and check out whatever categories you want to check out. Starting off today, we're going to start with the most popular games that were released in Steam, and of course, the number one has to be Far Cry 5. How did it go? We've been talking about it for a while. Well, not exactly as hot as it probably wanted to be. Right now, it's more of a mixed bag, sitting at 71% on Steam. Based on what people are saying and the critics are saying is really only get this game if you've really loved Far Cry games and you want to play another one. It's not too different than the older ones, even though there's some updates and they added co-op. Based personally on my feelings of what I've seen and read from others, this would be a great game to possibly wait for a good sale on it and maybe catch up on some other Far Cry games first before buying this one for 60 bucks. There were, however, a lot of people that really enjoyed it, and the only big complaint that I saw over and over again was its poor ending. The second most popular game released has to be Warhammer Vermintide 2. This game has been compared to the likes of Left 4 Dead 2, and if you've played the first one, apparently this is a great sequel for most, besides those that are facing bugs, server problems, all those different things that they're probably trying to patch and fix up. This game has a 76% rating so far. If you like killing enemy after enemy with your co-op buddies, then this is a great game to get for you, especially if you have given all hope up for Left 4 Dead 3, which, let's be honest, they're never going to make it. Most negative reviews about the game are on the patches or the bugs that people are experiencing, but they're continuing to work on the game, implement new patches, and people are saying that they really love the core gameplay, the beautiful maps, and the combat. So it's definitely a great game to pick up, and hopefully they make it better and better. Third most popular last month was Final Fantasy XV Windows Edition, also known as Final Fantasy 15. And this game was another open world game that we were looking forward to for the last couple months. And well, it's one of those ones again that has a little bit mixed reviews. Most people have already really enjoyed this game as it was a remake from the PlayStation Xbox days and now is on Windows as a port, but it is a much updated, highly graphical. I mean, it's insane. As I said before, the 4K specs require over 150 gigabytes of hard drive space. It is one of the most beautiful, immersive experiences people have said if you can run it, that is, of course, on your PC. Overall, it's a highly rated action JRPG. The only real complaint is about its story and confusing characters, to where people are now recommending you have to watch Final Fantasy anime on the side, which is a little weird to me. A game should be able to complete a story itself, but if you're willing to invest the time and extra effort, it will be a great game. Up next was a early access game that just finally got released called Northgard. Northgard reminds me of my old times in my childhood playing the Warcraft games. Not World of Warcraft, but the original Warcraft RTS games. This has a similar feel as an RTS, and a lot of people are loving it, saying it reminds them of those classic RTSs. It has been said to be a little bit of a slower RTS, so depending if you like that or not may determine if you should get the game or not. But they are also implementing new patches and still updating games, so that makes me a little bit more reassured that this game will keep improving, hopefully. Buyer beware, it is now time to talk through some of these early access games that have dropped on Steam. The first one is a PC game about building PCs. Now, this seemed a little bit odd to me at first, but actually I think it's a pretty cool concept and others agree, as it has really high ratings, 91% already. It is a great game if you perhaps have never built your PC, or like me, your friend helped you build your PC and now you are still a little bit afraid of doing it again or editing the one that you've already built. This game will help you realistically learn how to build PCs, work on PCs, and apparently it is an excellent simulation. Darwin Project is an early access battle royale game that has a unique spin that reminds me a lot more of the Hunger Games series. This battle royale is turned into a game show with 10 other participants in the freezing cold. Not only do you have to track them down, fight them, but you also have to survive the elements by basic crafting. Much like the game's masters in the Hunger Games, there's also a show director in this game who gets to control which zones are closes, nuclear bombs, and gravity storms, and all of these different actions that the director gets to make. My first reaction was, that sounds like a terrible idea, as that person is gonna likely target and be unfair. However, directors can be rated by the players, and eventually if your score drops too low, then you'll lose certain powers as a director in helping to keep the game balanced. The game is highly rated at 87%, and the one thing that they did wrong was made the game free from $15, which a lot of people are salty about if they already paid for it. However, if you haven't paid for it and you haven't played it yet, it's now free for you, so that's great news for you and you can go try it out. The next up game on our early access list is PixARK, which I'm not sure how to feel about, and apparently others aren't yet either, with a 65% rating on Steam. It is pretty popular as it has a mix of Minecraft feel of art style with the gameplay and taming of animals of the game Ark. Now, the reason why I have hesitation about this game is because it is in early access and people are complaining about bugs and patches and unbalances, but besides that, the game is great. However, digging a little bit into the developer Snail Games USA, who's the maker of this game, they made another game that's still in early access from last year called Dark and Light, which is apparently more of a fantasy version of Ark. And I don't know, it just feels like, they haven't completed their last game. Will they actually keep updating this game? We'll see, or it could just be a money grab. So just be aware and do a little more research. Next up, we're talking about the best cheap Steam games that were released this month under $15 or less, and the first one we have is Heroes of Hammerwatch, which is a roguelite action adventure. You can explore and battle your way through procedurally generated levels on your own or with up to 3 friends. I know that when we reviewed this game during our live stream, some of you said, the graphics are too bad, it doesn't look that interesting. Especially Mahizi, shout out to you, my man. But hey, some people like these games, and let's be honest, most roguelites aren't about the graphics at all, and they're mostly pixelated anyways. This is a sequel to the well-loved Hammerwatch game, and some say it's a great upgrade and even better game than the first one, and others say, well, it's a little bit unbalanced where it feels like I'm either steamrolling enemies or I'm just waiting around trying to heal because they're way OP over me and there's no in between. I don't know how true that is, but apparently at least 80% of the people like this game. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli revives a good old action platform run and gun genre, but this time with a bunch of humor and buckets of blown off body parts. This was one of the highest released rated Steam games that came out this last month with a 94% positive rating. People are loving it, saying it's really funny, it's action packed, and what's great is that you can also join up with other players in an online co-op mode. However, there are a few that have said this game is a little bit short, and even though it's cheap for $13, you have to ask yourself, is a couple hours of gameplay really worth it? There isn't a ton of replayability, so just keep that in mind. But for $13, it's not too bad, and you can always wait for it to go on sale for a little bit cheaper as well. Alright, I think it's definitely time to look at those free games where you don't need no money. The first one is Shooty Skies. Normally I don't like mobile port games. I like my mobile games on my phone and my Steam games as my Steam games. However, Shooty Skies is a game made by the same makers of Crossy Road, and now it's a bullet hell plane riding game. It's done well on Steam, so you can go and check that out yourself. Next on the docket is this game called Spellsworn. Enter a world full of magic and battle where your wits and reflexes will be pushed to their limits. This game reminds me of a type of battle right game, although technically I guess it's been around longer as it was in early access for 2 years before this, being made by a small indie studio. The concept of the game is pretty much just kill your opponents using magic, pushing them around, countering their spells. There are different ones that you can choose from, and you have to be the one to survive through it all. If you're into MOBA-like action like I am, then this might be one to try out, and we'll see if it's any good. Our last new free game to talk about is Battle Rush, which is a free-to-play multiplayer action game in the entourage of the Second World War with total destructibility of the environment. enjoy full freedom, build a defense, and create your army to crush the enemy. I must admit that the game doesn't look too exciting to me as the graphics are really outdated. I know graphics aren't everything, but you gotta put a little bit of effort into it. Although some people have said the gameplay is still a lot of fun and might be worth checking out if you're into first-person shooters for World War II. Alright, so maybe you're like me and you don't have a VR set, but I do like to keep tabs on VR games that come out just to see how it's going and to see if it's worth buying a new one. And of course, recently Elder Scrolls Skyrim VR came out on Steam. So, how did our beloved Skyrim game do on VR? Well, actually pretty well so far. It has 86% positive reviews on Steam and also was killing it pretty well with 3,000 peak player base at one point. A lot of people were blown away by the immersion of the game and how beautiful it was and how crazy it was to see a dragon right up in your grill. However, some said that there was too many prompts and it kind of ruined the immersion and the combat felt a little clunky to them, but they seem to be more in the minority. A lot of the reviews also said the mod community is full and running, and so if you're gonna get the game, plan on modding it to make it even better than it is.